Hello, you are listening to Just Films and That. This is the podcast where we celebrate films we think deserve a little bit more love. Whether they're underrated or underseen, we're going to tackle them one film at a time. I'm the host, Josh Hallam, and I'm joined, as ever, by my wonderful co-host. Oh, I messed it up already, Jamie.
Don't go back. Never go back.
Never go back. I'm the law. I'm the podcast law.
I am the law. Josh doesn't make mistakes.
Podcast hosts don't make mistakes. I'm joined by my co-host, Jamie Allen. Jamie, how you doing, mate? You okay?
I'm fantastic.
I think we may have given away what film we're talking about, even though it's in the title of people when they download the episode anyway.
Maybe if this has just come on and someone's in the shower, that's how we've set the parameters.
Who added us to the queue? Who added us to the queue, Jamie? That's the question.
People spending too much time in the shower who want two sexy voices.
How much time in the shower would get you a punishment from Judge Dredd?
Oh, 5 years in the ISO cubes.
Yeah, water wastage more than 10 minutes. Yes, so we are discussing Judge Dredd from 1995, so spoiler warnings if you've not seen it. Just to clarify for Judge Dredd fans out there, this is the Stallone one, okay? I'm not having any backlash if anyone thinks this is the Carl Urban Dredd one, because I'll be doing that next week, okay? So I thought, why not do it as a double bill? I'll talk about that next week. It is Judge Dredd from 1995, so spoiler warnings if you've not seen it. Before we get stuck into it, if you could head on over to whatever you're listening to this on, if there's a rating or review function, if you give us a lovely rating and review, helps other people find the pod and listen to our thoughts. It really, really does help, so we'd really appreciate that. If you could head on over and do it now, that would be amazing. Anyway, Jamie, Judge Dredd, you've seen this one? Surely this was on the Allerton television in 1996.
So, Josh, we've got a history of you bringing bad films to me, and I get upset.
I'm trying to push you closer and closer to leaving the pod in rage. Yeah.
You've made us do LXG, you've made us do iRobot. Yeah. And I think that you thought this would be one of them ones where I was like, Josh, what are you doing? But I'll tell you now, I fucking love this movie so much. And I remember going to the shops with my dad it must have been the next year, 1996. It was an 18 in the UK originally.
Yeah.
And being like, I want you to buy this on VHS. I had the VHS for this. I watched it all the time. I adored it. This was a regular watch.
I also had the VHS for this. My introduction to this film was actually, and this dates it, Planet Hollywood. We went to Planet Hollywood and Stallone's Judge Dredd uniform was there in London. Kids at home, if you didn't know what Planet Hollywood is, just Google it. But it was basically a failed restaurant ran by Willis Stallone and Arnie. Was it Arnie?
Yeah, I think none of them got an MVQ in cooking though, so that was the main problem.
That was and they couldn't run all of the different restaurants between the three of them.
I burnt the burgers. I'll be doing
Get
some
to the
fantastic
vegetable
chopper.
Fantastic.
We don't even need the rest of the episode.
Yeah, come on. Give us a rating and review. So you like this one then?
I love this. Yeah. I think this is genuinely like slated as a punchline that it doesn't deserve. I don't think it bombed, but I guess it'll come to box office later. It felt like it was everywhere, but I think it was just it feels like Stallone is embarrassed about it, isn't he? Probably because the cod piece. And the 5-inch heels that he's got in his shoes to make him tower over Diane
doing
Lane.
a good job of making 5'9" Sylvester Stallone look at least a foot taller than everybody else in this film.
It's because of his presence on screen. But you picked this one. So why did you pick this one, Josh?
Yeah, so I chose this one because it is a pretty famous bomb. Not box office wise, I think it did okay box office wise, but it is up there with like this is the period in Stallone's career a little bit like when we did Daylight, where he wasn't a guaranteed box office hit and he wasn't a guaranteed critical hit, and this was pretty roundly panned, pretty. Obviously it led to the death of what I think they were hoping was the start of a franchise and never became one, only to be revisited later on as Dredd. And I just don't think this is that bad. I think it is flawed. It is, for me, it is in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen camp. And am I saying that to annoy you? Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am saying it to annoy you, Jerry. So I just do not think that it is that bad. But I think for both of us, nostalgia is probably doing quite a lot of heavy lifting here, isn't it? Because it is flawed. I mean, we'll get on to the flawed, but it is not. It's not a perfect film. It's far from it. It is. It's just not as bad as people say. That's what I think, anyway.
No, my predicted rating of 9.5 might go up against you there.
You're thinking of Dredd. I didn't do what it was about. If you've not seen it, yeah, essentially it's set in the far future where the world has been subject to a nuclear wasteland, so that society has been sort of funneled into, or American society has been funneled into mega cities where there's lawlessness and disorder. So they create the judges, who are sort of judge, jury, executioner type deals, who are basically policemen, but everything else. And Stallone is Judge Dredd, who is the best of the best of the best, who finds himself caught up in a crime he didn't commit.
Yeah, luckily it's far away from the future we're looking at right now.
Yeah, it's really far. There's absolutely nothing in this that would suggest there's anything like this going on or anything like that anywhere in the world at all. So we'll get stuck into it then, Jen. So if you've not listened before, if you're a big fan of Judge Dredd and you find yourself over here listening because of this one, we always start with the positives, what we liked about the film, move on to the negatives, then we'll have a little look at the critical reception and figure out, is it the reason why we picked it, which in this instance is me saying that I think it is underrated. Jamie, you take it away, mate, because I think was this on your list as well?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so this is a double lister as well.
Well,
was it on your list?
We're promoting this as such.
Yeah, double lister, yeah. Was it on your list because it's underrated as well?
Yeah, I think because it's a punch bag, isn't it?
Yes,
and,
it is.
But also, I think it's because it's that Stallone thing as well of don't dish your own movies. Dish Oscar if you're going to dish your own movies, but not this.
Stop all that will shoot. Yeah, if you're going to dish the movies. Yeah, and I suppose before we get into it, we'll start with the likes. But before we get into it, we're not here to talk about whether this is or isn't comic book accurate. We know it's not. We're talking about it as a film. You know, it isn't comic book accurate. So if you're here because you want to hear two people talk about how not comic book accurate it is, I wouldn't waste your time. Just listen to it all the way through, but on mute, and then we get the listens, and then give us a 5-star rating and review. Jamie, what do you like about this? What do you like about Judge Dredd?
All right, let's start with the big E for me, the production design. I think this looks beautiful.
Spot on, yeah.
The city it feels lived in. It's dirty, it's grimy. You know, it's a mix of like Verhoeven and Tim Burton.
Yeah.
It feels like they probably filmed this in England because they had that. They used to do all these great, like they just find a huge studio in Pinewood and be like, let's just make it, let's just do it.
Yeah, let's just build Mega City 1 or whatever.
Yeah, and that falls in with, you know, I think, is it Versace design the outfit?
The suit, yeah, the costume, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, mixed in with that, it also feels lived in. I love that the world building this is Dredd's already famous. Like criminals will be like, Judge Dredd. Oh no, it's Judge Dredd.
Yeah, yeah. He's like he's almost like a Batman or whatever, isn't he?
Yeah, and I feel like people feel like they might get a fair cop from a judge, like that guy who has his Ferrari wrongly parked or something.
Yeah.
In what world would you, if these people can like execute you up the street, why would you be like just casually telling them to fuck off? But then when you see Dredd, you're like, oh no, this is me, I'm done for. And and they set up the character well when he judges Rob Schneider. If it had been the real Rob Schneider, we probably would be like, yeah, that's fair enough. But he is unfair at the start, and you can tell like, oh, he is like militant to the law. He's
black and white to the letter, isn't he?
Yeah, it's legal for you to jump out the window, so why didn't you do that? So yeah, production design. The cast is stacked. This is insane, this cast.
Yeah, it's got, it's obviously Stallone, Diane Lane, Rob Schneider, Max von Sydow.
My MVP, Underseen.
Jürgen Prochnow. Ian Dury's got a cameo in this.
It opens with James L. Jones voiceover. This was money. This was one of them big studio, let's just throw some money at that.
Yeah.
Which I love that approach of like, let's just make it big.
And it is very much, you can see we'll just throw money at it then.
And also, I'll say it, everyone seems to know what film they're in. Like, you know, Jürgen Prochnow is going big in this. I think everyone is shadowed by how big Underseen is in this.
I mean, is there any scenery left for him to chew?
It's so, because they gave him real sets to chew. But every line delivery is just perfect for him, which I would have it as my phone. Like, when
just
the phone
him
goes
screaming
off.
law back at Sylvester Stallone.
I am the beginning. Well back.
Oh God! But he's great at it. He is good at it. Like yeah. He's a comic book villain. I think that's the thing is it looks comic booky. It is big and bombastic and melodramatic, and yes, it is. It's campy and things like that. So, like you say, it might not be spot on for the comics, but it is. It's going for something. It's bold, and I like that. Like I still think that the big robot puppet's pretty cool.
Oh, the ABC Warrior is spot on. I used to read 2000 AD. I don't know if I've ever told you that. So it's weird because that robot is not in the Judge Dredd universe. So that was like no. So 2000 AD was like you get 5 different stories in one comic book, and then they carry on next week. And the ABC Warriors were in a different thing for Judge Dredd.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
it was like a little an ABC Warrior. I think the design on that is great. Just to touch on Danny Cannon, the director, I think he does really well in this. I read something years ago that he thought it was going to get a PG-13, which I don't know how, because this is violent. Like, you see Jaeger Prochnow as a spoiler, but he gets his arms ripped off.
Yeah.
And there's blood splattered all over the floor.
There's a cannibalistic mutant family that tried to eat Judge Dredd. Yeah, we'll get it through for 13-year-olds this year.
Yeah, because we're not showing the wound. It's like there's a pint of blood on the floor.
What's that? It's a human corpse rotating on spit for them to eat. Is it? Right, okay.
Say recycling. That's a good message there. Yeah, so that we got the cast of I like violent films, because we have been watered down now, especially we live in a world where we were getting, 12A Robocops and 12A Predators, even though I did really like The Last Predator. And also there's got this, the 90s were great for set pieces. This has got great set pieces.
It does.
The Angel Gang set piece, sneaking back into Mega City set piece, going on the opening, great set piece. Even though he says we're out of the range for a lethal round, and before that you've seen a guy explode from bullets. Was he just allergic to bullets?
The opening with an unexplained cameo by James Remar. They just went, 90s sci-fi, who we'll get. It's either Lance Henriksen or James Remar, one of the two.
I've got Ajax from Warriors in the first scene. Yes, perfect. Great work. It's, again, that's the whole, we're going to have James Earl Jones voiceover, who's our first judge that we're introducing, Diane Lane, who's like also a respectable actress. Like, she doesn't do tat like this.
No, she, like you say, she's got quite a respectable sort of CV. No, I completely agree with you there. I think it's going for something, and I think one thing is the rules of the world from that voiceover. Straight away, the rules of the world are really, really clear in terms of what everything means, what's happened to get us to where we are in the film, how everything is set up. Even things like as Rob Schneider's character is flying to his apartment, you can see things like the societal class divide, as some people live in like nice blocks and some people live in horrible blocks and things like that. So I think they do really well with the production design. I completely agree with you with some of the acting as well. Like I just go back to it. I do think Armand DeSanti is great. I've never seen him do a film where he isn't sort of chewing the scenery, but he is great. It's good. He's like a great 90s villain. He's really, really good. I think it's got all that's good about 90s blockbuster entertainment. I think the shout you had there that it's like a Paul Verhoeven film, that's spot on. Like, if you said Paul Verhoeven directed this but was sacked halfway through, I believe you.
I could believe he had creative differences with Stallone, who didn't understand satire.
Yeah, it's not satirical and biting enough to be Verhoeven, is it? But
yeah,
no, I just don't think it's as bad as everything says. I think there's plenty to like about it. There's issues with it as well, which we'll come on to. But I think it's a decent, solid blockbuster, isn't it?
Yeah, and do you know what? I'm going to say this for the haters out there. I think Stallone does a good job. I think, is he wearing contact lenses? Because he has like incredibly steely blue eyes.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the contact lenses. I think he does a good job in this film, doesn't he? And there's certainly, I've read some issues around. It's probably not his finest hour, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's bad. I mean, he does do a lot of mouth noises in this. There's a lot of like, like
Fergie, Fergie. Take a drink every time he shouts Fergie, because in the future the Black Eyed Peas still exist.
Who does what more? Does he shout Fergie more, or does Rob Schneider shout Dredd? Because boy, does Rob Schneider shout Dredd a lot in this film.
Should we have the Rob Schneider conversation? Because I think he's actually good in there.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yes, I think he's a good comic relief. He does all, he does things like, oh, perfect. He gets all the credit. He's a perfect, like, almost sidekick / foil in this. I think he's great at this.
I think they should have gone back over and maybe got rid of 4 of those, quips. He's too quippy.
Yeah.
But some of those clips are brilliant, and the character makes sense in this world. I like the character. And he gets the funniest joke, the eat recycled food. It's good for the environment and okay for you.
Okay, then we'll move on to talking about the dislikes then, and we'll have a look at what we didn't like about Judge Dredd and what we'd change about Judge Dredd. I mean, it is flawed, isn't it, Jamie? It's not good. Do you want to go first, or shall I go first?
I'll let you go first on this one. To see if I agree.
Well, we've touched on a few of these, but that script, I mean, so from what I've read, there were issues behind the scene between sort of Stallone and the creative team director. I'm not too sure of the ins and outs of it, and I obviously don't want to comment. I know it's 30 years ago, but we don't know what happened. But I believe there was like sort of tensions as they were making it between, well, creative differences. They wanted to do different things and things like that. But there's a lot of like just issues in there, like a lot of random plot holes, things like the way Rico escapes from the prison doesn't really make any sense. That whole thing of he meets an unnecessary scientist romance so that he has a girlfriend whose just only characteristic is that she's hot for Rico, and then is there to fight Judge Hershey later on. But the main issue, I mean, apart from Batman and Robin, this is up there with the worst like puns or overuse of words in the dialogue and things like that. Like, there's too many Judge puns. There's too many, like, the court is now in session and things like that. The whole the bit there, he kills Rico and he says, I'm the only one that ever liked you. And he goes, I'll be the judge of that. Just throw him off the top of the statue.
You mean a perfect line? A perfect line in the movie.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry, I should put the likes, the perfect line, yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of puns in there, a lot of sort of quite bad dialogue, things like, as Max von Sydow's character's dying, Judge Dredd just goes, don't die. He's an old man, he's been shot through the chest. It is flawed, the script. It's cheesy as well. And on one hand, I completely get it's going for big and bold and melodramatic and campy and comic book and things like that. But then there's other bits where it's almost trying to be a bit too earnest, like the bit where, he looks up at the Statue of Justice and it's a bit like, oh, come on. Like,
so I actually love the high drama of that, because I feel like they knew what they were doing with you've got the lightning going off, and it feels like maybe not a stage play, but like an old, like we're talking like an old Roman, it's excessive.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and there's also an element like you can see how they got there if you think like what would a comic book panel look like and things like that. But I guess it almost can't decide. Like back to the comparison to Paul Verhoeven before, like a few tweaks to this, and it could have looked like quite a good sort of satire, and it's not. So is it being earnest in the way it's being there? Is it being like he's a Superman type character standing up for justice and things like that? And I guess it's hard to get that balance right. There's been plenty of bad films about superheroes who are like that. But you've only got to look at, things like how well they did Superman in some iterations or Captain America or whatever to see you can do it well. But then Judge Dredd is a lot darker than that. So, yeah, I think the main issue for me is the script and some of the characterizations, some of the characters. I don't, there's things I don't mind. Like I say, I love Armand Assante. I do like Rob Schneider. Don't think it's Stallone's finest hour, but he's not bad in it. And I think you have to question what went on. Like, there's elements of I have read that he took a bit of control over stuff as well. So I'd be interested to know how much of that is actually true. But it's only really a script. I mean, I picked this. I think it's underrated. It's there's plenty there to like. I think it's really, I like this film, but you can't deny that script is not great.
I think even
you can deny it. That's like the whole point of the podcast.
Even fans of this movie would say, get rid of that. I knew you'd say that callback. It's completely stupid.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make any sense. Like, he says, I knew you'd say that stuff that people would, like, anyone could guess. How do you plead not guilty? I knew you'd say that. Yeah, probably, yeah.
It's like when people try and fool you with a believable lie. And then go, I'm going to meet my brother later. Oh, are you? No, I've got a brother, dickhead. I don't know you very well. I don't know if you've got a brother or not.
I murdered him. So,
But
but what I mean, I agree with you that it is a weak script, but what helps is that the movie is on rails. Like this, it goes by. I forgot this was like 90 minutes.
it's tight.
And it's so quick that you can actually forgive. There's no boring scenes in this. I'll give it that. Even the bits where they're in the council, you're like, let's get through this quickly. His court case lasts 2 minutes with like, all right, let's open this. Yeah, blah blah blah. Okay, bye, go.
Yeah, he gets out of Mega City and back in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, he has a great set piece with the Angel Gang, and then he's back in. Yeah,
you get the impression he is just outside of Mega City 1.
Yeah. They crashed. It's like they crashed on the bypass.
Yes. And the roundabout turn off for Mega City 1.
They're doing a really bad job of defending the outside if the Angel Gang lives like 50 yards.
They've just got a restraining order against the Angel Gang.
The bloody Angel Gang again. Joe, this is how much we both like it. We've turned the didn't likes into stuff that was like
more likes.
I'll give you I think they should have went for it on the tone of being more satire, because the comics are satire. If this had been Paul Verhoeven, they really would have pushed. I think because he is pretty much RoboCop, isn't he?
Yeah.
And you've got early indicators of that satire that kind of get removed later on. Apart from that, I genuinely would say they've not earned that kiss at the end. I don't like that at all. Get rid of that.
Yeah. It almost doesn't need to be a love story. They could just be mates.
No, it's a mentee.
Yeah.
Is it mentee?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mentor, mentee, mentos. Those are the three.
Yeah.
The three ments.
Or if it'd say like, give me a kiss, if it done it in a Dredd way. Did you pick up on the fact that Fergie probably died in the first shoot because they do not respond to him being wheeled out at all?
Yeah, it's obviously just a reshoot of
people.
And I'm fairly certain he's not in the wide shot of the street at the end.
No, he's not, because that's in like Danny Cannon's backyard, I bet you.
Would
you imagine that?
Rob, can you, your costume, can you just come back? No, everyone has gone home, yeah. But if you could just come back for this bit.
Imagine the notes come back and they're like, people upset that Rob Schneider died.
Would you prefer it to stay that way?
I know, I like the Fergie's alive in it.
Yeah, I do. I think Hershey dying would probably have been more of an emotional beat.
Yeah, but I think that's. But I think enough people have died. Like they kill off all the council judges. They kill off Max von Sydow in a fantastic. Like I'm just going to close my eyes if you carry on shooting.
And the Angel Gang, they kill all them off, including.
Yeah, well that's another thing. Like if you're setting up a franchise, they take a lot of players off the board. Like Judge McGruder, is it, or Judge Gru? They're like the elderly ladies on the council.
Yeah.
She's huge in the comic books.
Right.
Mean Machine is a huge villain that he's got. Rico is huge. Like they're taking a lot of characters out of this that kind of you'd want to keep in the franchise.
Yeah. So I'm not really familiar with the comic books. How bad is it then? I know we said we wouldn't touch on it because we know it's badly adapted, but one of the criticisms, I know about the big one, which is he takes his helmet off. That's the big one, right? Judge Dredd never takes his helmet off. Say again.
And keeps his penis in.
And keeps his dick in.
Because the comic is huge on that. So just in case we need to edit that out, it's a big thing that he takes his helmet off like 20 minutes in, and it's
until the last 10 seconds.
I think they could have kind of calmed people if he hadn't taken the helmet off until he's arrested, where it's like if it's someone else who takes it off, but he just like casually is like, "Oh hello, Max von Sydow. Should we do our backstory now to camera?" But I think if it's the 90s and you've got Stallone, you have to have his helmet off, don't you?
Well, I suppose that's the counterpoint, isn't it? Is if I'm paying him $20 million or whatever I'm paying him, I want to see his face.
Yeah, and like if you go in smaller and it's Carl Urban is not a huge. If you compare it to the newer film, you can kind of do just by saying he never takes his helmet off in this one. That's in a way that's fan service. That's.
Yeah, and there's an element. I think now you could probably get away with it more, even pretty much whoever it was, to not have the helmet be taken off. But I think back then it was the star power was much more of a bigger thing, whereas now the product is the star, really, apart from certain instances, really. So, anything else for you on the dislikes?
No, I mean I just that ABC Warrior. Yeah, it is a bit easy to reactivate, isn't it? You just did too. You just got wired in like a Honda Civic.
Why wouldn't the guy who owns it think, I might take over Mega City 1 here, actually?
Yeah, and if she...
Me, Ian Dury, the villain of Judge Dredd.
What a cameo.
Yeah, it just... Is he a fan of the comics? Like, why is it? That's one of those ones he was walking past because he was filming something on set.
Again,
like
I think that's a Pinewood thing where they're like, who lives in London? Oh, you do? Right.
Okay, so we'll move on to talking about the critical reception then, and then we will decide, is it underrated? Which is, of course, why I picked it. If you've not listened before, we take the IMDb score, the Rotten Tomatoes audience score, the Rotten Tomatoes critics score, and then we average them out and have a look at that. And if it is or isn't underrated, we'll have a little look at the box office as well, but I don't think it's underseen, so we don't really need to pay too much attention to that. I mean, we know it didn't do well, but how badly do you think it did, Jamie, and how would you rate this? Can you go more than 10 out of 10, Jamie, for this?
I know I go too high. So this is one of them where it's like, personally, and it's not nostalgic because I enjoyed watching it this week as just a film on its own. Personally, yeah, I give it an 8, but I would settle.
Really, an 8?
I would settle on a 6.5.
Because I'd give it maybe like a 6 to 6.5, but nostalgia is doing so much. I feel it for me on that.
I think if this was bloated, I'd feel different. But it's, like I said, it's 90 minutes.
It's
it feels epic in terms. We didn't touch on the score. The score's great.
The music is good, yeah. The music's really good, yeah.
So it's just one of them where it's been overly bashed, but I'd accept the 6.5 from the rubes out there.
A 6.5, right? Okay. And how do you think it did? How bad is bad?
Are we talking in the 40s? Worse than 40s?
Yeah.
People don't know. People don't know what's going on.
So at the time of recording, over an IMDb, it gets 5.6 out of 10. Not that bad, not as high as we think, but that's not, I wouldn't be offended by that. You probably would be, right?
Yeah.
Wait until you hear the Rotten Tomatoes. So
we know what the critics are about.
The Rotten Tomatoes audience give it 31%. The Rotten Tomatoes critics give it 22%.
Wow.
So that averages out at 36% or 3.6 out of 10. Are you angry, Jamie?
Yeah, no, that's it. But I think that's, we live in a world where people are afraid of their emotions and afraid to say what gives them joy.
Armando Santi's performance in Judge Dredd.
Because I want to scream at people on the tube now. Play on the beginning.
That guy quoted 1995's Judge Dredd over there. Yeah. So I think we're agreed without even having to say it, although I will say it. That's underrated, right? 3.6 out of 10. That even if we took some of the nostalgia off, I think we could say this is a 6 out of 10 for us.
Yeah, it's not a bad movie. There, I'll say it. So if it's not a bad movie, it can't be below 5 out of 10.
So that's my flawed. It's flawed, but it's not that bad, I think, is what we can say, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there we go. Box office wise, $113 million worldwide, which for 1995 is like, that's quite a big hit. So I don't think it's not underseen. It is underrated.
It feels like this is one where the budget probly bloated though.
Yeah. The just getting Rob Schneider back for that one shot where he's on a stretcher.
That cost $20 million.
But yeah, so there we go. Underrated, but not underseen. It's flawed, but it's just not that bad.
Yeah, give it a watch, even if it is very hard to watch in the UK right now.
There we go. Another episode in the bag. Judge Dredd, underrated. I'm glad we both agree on that one because we've picked some stinkers over the last few months and we've come to blows, but we both like Judge Dredd. I'd be interested to see, I don't know many people are going back to this now, so give it a watch. Let us know what you think. We'll be back next week with another episode. I'm actually going to be doing Dredd because it was on the listener suggestions list, so we thought, why not do them back to back? So I will be back next week doing Dredd. In the meantime, if you'd like to get in touch with us, it's filmsandthatpod@gmail.com. We're on all the social medias. If you search for Just Films and That on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, you'll find us. We're always putting stuff out there. Give us a follow. All that remains to be said is thank you very much for listening. Everything you need is in the show notes. So click the link and it'll take you to wherever you need to go. We'll be back next week. It's goodbye from me. Cheerio.
Bye.